All right, for this video, we're going to talk a little bit about doing hair on sculptures. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do hair in Blender, and one of the ways that you can do it is by using a curve inside of your sculptures. So it's something that if you don't know how to do it, it can seem very daunting and difficult to do, but it's actually not too bad. So if you go into the sculpting workspace, let's say that you have an object here, okay, and you want to be able to sculpt, you can't really, even if you go into sculpt mode, there's really no way to add hair just by itself as an object on here. So what you first have to do is you have to add a hair curve on here. So what that means is go back to the object workspace, click on the object you want to be able to add your hair to. You're going to hit Shift A and you're going to go to curve and you're going to select empty hair. Now when you select empty hair, it's going to come up over here on the right and you're going to see a little thing that says curves. Okay, so I have two. I have one that's for the upper hair here. I have another one that's for the beard. So I'm going to use the same one that I used for the beard. I can use for the eyebrows, which is what I'm going to show you right now. Now, when you have the curve selected, what you do is you then go over into sculpt mode. You got to make sure you have the curve selected, not your sculpts. So make sure you have the curve selected, hit sculpt mode, and you're going to see these controls that are up here on the top left. So what you're first going to see is up here on the top left, you'll see brush. That's to be able to actually like brush on the hair. The selection paint allows you to select certain areas that you want to be able to maneuver around. So like if you want to comb certain areas or extend or increase the size of certain areas, you can do that. If you just hit A, it'll go back to selecting all again. You can go in and you can change the density. So density means that you're adding more hairs at the same length within whatever area you're working on. So if you want to be able to add some thickness to the area and just add more hair, you can do that. You can also just do add, and add will take whatever you selected, like your strength and everything, to add in the different hairs, and you can select the size of them, which I'll show you here in a second. And you can also delete hair as well, and then and you can annotate if you need to. So basically, let's say that we want to be able to add some eyebrows on here. So I'm going to select the add tool. I'm going to go into the count. I'm going to change the count to, I'll just do 10. Doesn't need to do a lot of hairs at a time. That's how many hairs you want per each like click that you go through on here. The curve shape is actually the size. So you'll see that it's got the radius here and the length. So I'm going to put the length on this one because it's going to be eyebrows. They're going to be pretty small. So I'm going to do 0.08 and then hit enter. Okay, and then I can just zoom in here and kind of draw where I want to be able to put the eyebrows. So if I want to be able to put the eyebrows starting here, I can kind of work my way over here, go up and over a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna adjust it once I'm done. Okay, so I went ahead, added in some eyebrows there. Okay, now you're gonna say, okay, well those don't really look like eyebrows, they just look like hairs sticking out. Well, now is when you can actually go through and adjust it. Now by doing it this way, as opposed to doing like smaller ones and extending out the length of it, is that it's really hard to get the length back to even with all these different hairs. So I try to set whatever the length is for the overall hair or the beard or the eyebrows or anything, and then leave it at that. Now what you can do is that once you've got this selected, you can take and you can go up to here and you can select these different options. So comb is to be able to literally move the hair around and comb it. Grow shrink is going to allow you to grow the hair out from wherever it's at and extend the length of it. It doesn't grow the diameter, it only grows the length. If you hold down control and click, you're going to be able to shrink it as well and reduce it. Pinch is useful because you can actually pinch the hair and kind of make it clump together. Puffing is exactly what it is, just puffing up some hair. Pull tips will actually grab the tips and move the hair by the tips, but it also extends it out. So it's going to increase the length of it. So just be aware that as you grab those tips, you're extending out the hair. You can slide it if you need to move a chunk of hair. Smoothing out is exactly what it is. It just smooths it out a little bit. Add, we already talked about. Delete, we talked about. Density, like we talked about as well. That's just increasing the number of hairs in an area. And then selection. So right now we're going to go ahead and select the brush tool. I'm going to increase the size of my brush here, and I'm just using my pen here. And I'm going to just kind of brush the hair over. Okay, now eyebrows tend to be a little on the messy side anyways, but we're going to go ahead and you'll see that I'm going to go ahead and just kind of brush these over, kind of get them going all in one direction somewhat. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is really just to show you how it works. So you'll see that I'm basically just kind of sculpting it by using the brush where I want it for there. Okay, and then if I was done and I didn't want to do any more, I could literally just switch it over, get back into this mode. You'll see it's always white when you're still in selection mode when you have it selected. But if you unselect it there, then you'll see that it actually will take and put the hair back to whatever color you selected. And then you literally would shade it just like you would any other object. You'd literally go into the object, go into your shading menu, which we're in right now actually, and you can pull up another screen, go into your shader editor, and you'll see you got your nodes here. So there's a couple things that you can do with the nodes to be able to make it to where the hairs themselves, when they attach to the skin, will start to fade a little bit. So that's a really useful tip, just so it doesn't look so harsh when it connects. If you actually look at these up close, they actually fade as they get in towards the skin. So that's something that's really useful that you can do. And that's just using the nodes and being able to use these points on here. You'll see one that says curves info, and you can do intercept. So that's where the hair intercepts with the mesh, and you're basically taking that and using a color ramp and combining it with a shader to be able to basically reduce the visibility of it. So hopefully that helps. This just gives you an overview of what to do just to start out with hair. And like I said, make sure that you select your object, you add a curve that's a hair curve, and then you go and select that hair curve and go into the editor or the sculptor, and you can just go ahead and start adding hairs to it. Select your size and make sure you do them all the same size. Makes it easier, and hopefully that helps. So enjoy Blender and good luck.